remember what else. But from that day, we were fast friends. Simin taught me so much about the world. When I met her, I knew nothing about the Middle East. I thought people in Iran spoke Arabic. She set me straight quickly. She taught me about feminism, intersectional feminism. She lived in Harlem before it was gentrified. She had ferrets. I'd never heard of anybody having ferrets before. We watched art films, horror films, partied, went salsa dancing, went deep into politics and art, supported one another through beginnings and ends of relationships. These experiences were special to me, but not unique to me. Simin was a great friend to so many people in this room, partly because she really understood the value of showing up. At every life event, birthday, baby shower, dinner, I don't know why I have that, wedding, film screening, she would be there, maybe a little late. So we started true to form today, but always with flowers, a hand-drawn card, a little bag of thoughtful gifts. I miss her a lot. This memorial was put together by a large group of Simin's friends to honor her and celebrate her. There are people here from as far away as Australia, France, Afghanistan, California, and watching the live stream around the world, including in Iran, Germany, and India. We're going to have a 90-minute program, and then we're going to share a meal together. We've tried to make it beautiful and warm and delicious, because that's what Simin created for us so many times. The first video we're going to see is from an interview by Simin's dear friend, Renee Green, filmed in 1996, and she's talking about the moment that she first arrived in the United States.
I took a little small plane, which was, I guess, a 10-seater from JFK to Hartford, Connecticut, which was really funny because there was no light in the aircraft, and it was very cold, and you felt like you're sweeping through the air on just a seat. It was very funny. And then I ended up in Hartford, which was a college that wasn't very politicized, and it was difficult. And I was on campus, and finally, 1 month into being in Hartford, I decided, well, let me see what Hartford's all about. I haven't even seen the city yet. The campus is far away from anything, just in a nice, very affluent area. So I took a bus. This was my first impression of Hartford. I took a bus, and 5 minutes away from the campus, it's all beautiful mansions and everything in West Hartford. Suddenly we get into an area which is really downtrodden. All the houses looked like what I later saw maybe in Alabama, actually, or Mississippi, and it was like all wooden houses, really downtrodden. I was like, wow. And this is right 5 minutes by driving distance away from this very affluent area, and it was a very poor part of town. And then you got into another part of town, so this one bus trip was really intense for me, because I'd seen this kind of very poor area in India and in Iran. I didn't expect that to be in America.
Hi, my name is Robert.
And I'm Anthony.
And lately we've been feeling kind of angry at the recent media coverage of the Bensonhurst and Central Park case and the way they misrepresent black and white youths.
We noticed that many people like to look at pictures.
I guess we'll do that next. There we go. So I'm Diana Augusta. Excuse me? Okay. If Marty and Dee Dee can come up now also. So that clip that we're going to see the rest of in a minute is from a program that Simin did with Pam Sporn and high school kids in New York City, part of Paper Tiger's media criticism. I'm just going to say a word or two, and then Dee Dee and then Marty will come up. I met Simin when she joined Paper Tiger TV. It was a collective of activists, video makers, and artists who make this weekly critical media program that initially showed on public access TV. And we worked on a few programs together. One where we interviewed 3 members of the New York 3 in maximum security prison upstate. They were convicted, possibly framed, for police murder. So that was a very intense experience. And I remember Simin for working with her, but also for 4 things, really. One, her intensity, her political convictions. When we talked about personal life, she often had doubts and questions, but politically she was very strong, very clear. She really had thought things through. Second, I remember her for her style. I grew up in a time when feminists were debating whether you could be a feminist and wear makeup. It was like a question. But Simin was always beautifully put together. She always had blouses and scarves. She always had style. Third, her laugh. When we talked, she always listened so carefully and asked incisive questions, and then laughed at the absurdities of life. Her laugh was loud and clear and free. And finally, as we can see by just looking around, she connected with so many people. She drew us together, such an amazing group of people, weaving our connections and helping us now to reconnect after so many years. And so this moment is such a moment of love and connection. So thank you, Simin. Dee Dee?
I met Simin at the university in Hartford and showed some Paper Tiger tapes, and after she was hooked, and she was a wonderful member of the collective. The next thing we're going to look at and talk about is her involvement with a series that we did as a Paper Tiger presentation, but also part of Deep Dish TV, which grew out of Paper Tiger, and which it was a satellite network of alternative media. And we had Daniel, Martha, and Karen were really the leaders of that. An amazing effort. The first series, we got, I believe it was 169 stations to actually downlink community media, because we really we wanted to share the work that we were doing, and also that other people were doing around the country. So what happened in 1990, Deep Dish started in 86. In 1990, there was a lot of discussion about going to war. That was the first George Bush, and we knew we wanted to do something to respond to it, and we started getting these videotapes from all over the country, because there was no internet. There was no internet almost at that time. There was no YouTube, and people really felt that they really, around the country, people did not want to go to war. And so they made tapes of demonstrations in their communities and sent them in, and to Deep Dish. And so we decided to do a series showing just how strong the feeling against war was. And Simin was a key member of that group. The first group was just myself, Chiche Martinez, and Jen Lyon, and we we were there like practically all night long many times, and spent the night on the floor of the A.J. Musty building trying to get the word out and to collate these tapes, all the information that communities around the country had done. So Marty can talk more about it.
Hi, I'm Marty Lucas. Yeah, the Gulf Crisis Television Project. Dee Dee and I were talking the other day. She called me up, and we were talking. We didn't have any pictures, you know. And frankly, there really wasn't any documentation. We were really busy doing a lot of other things at that time, as she suggests. So I don't have any pictures of that time. I do have memories, vague memories, of the immense pile of mail bags, those old gray, dirty canvas mail bags in the back room, and us kind of shaking our heads and dumping them out and splitting them out, saying, oh, this is for you guys, because Simin had a show, there was another show, Dee Dee had a show, et cetera. Everybody, there were like 4 shows to start with, so we would split those things out, and there were still way too many to do anything with, but we did it. And then, as she also pointed out, that's one of my memories, is waking up. The office had a lot of windows, so you woke up bright and early. And we were, waking up on the couch and hearing this funny little crunching sound of the mice working through the leftovers from our takeout the night before. The military buildup started in August 1990, and Simin was obviously from the Middle East, and I had been there, particularly in Syria and Lebanon, doing news and documentary work just before, and had put a show out with Ilan Ziv, actually. And for me, speaking with Simin about what was going on was the spark, like, this is obvious. And then talking to Kathy and Dee Dee, it was obvious that Paper Tiger, which was our end of it, could be a producer for the programs that Deep Dish would come out. And when you talk to Simin about doing something, it happens. So we did do something, and hundreds of people sent tapes, dozens and dozens of people edited them, titled them, distributed them, spent hours talking to the satellite brokers, getting time on the satellites. All these things happened, calling up the producers, because we had to call each individual station. And Simin was really central to that. Hundreds chipped in, millions of people actually saw the shows. An anti-war movement blossomed, but it was very hard, very crazy work. And during all of that, Simin, who I know, we'd done shows together, but her ability to be both serious and very, very smart, but also funny, and ultimately extremely resolute, is the word I would use, always, in the service of social justice and the fight against that war, inspired a special feeling that today, in the face of the kind of tyranny, the destruction of law, and particularly the destruction in Gaza right now, her love, her strength, her resolution is something we need to celebrate together. I will miss her.
This series is made out of material sent to us by people all over the country who are currently speaking out against the U.S. involvement in the Persian Gulf. Nationwide, people are raising questions, demanding information, organizing teach-ins, and finding out that they are a part of a major movement focused on peace in the Persian Gulf and the need to solve domestic problems.
بلند بالا به بالات مانده و ما، بلند بالا به بالات مانده و ما، بغل وا کن که سرما خورده و ما، عزیز جان جگر جان دلی 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 دلای دلی 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 دلی. بغل وا کن مره کنج بغلگیر، بغل وا کن مره کنج بغلگیر، که دیشو در بیابان مانده و ما، که سرما خورده و ما، عزیز جان جگر جان دلی 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 دلای دلی 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 دلای دلی 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 دلی. لبه بام آمدی کردی اشاره، لبه بام آمدی کردی اشاره، همان دم دل ما شد پاره پاره، عزیز جان جگر جان دلی 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 دلای دلی 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 دلای دلی 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 دلی. برای جنگ با خدا لشکر بیارم، برای جنگ با خدا لشکر بیارم، اگر در آسمان گردی ستاره، عزیز جان جگر جان دلی 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 دلای دلی 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 دلای دلی 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 دلی. گشکنه گزای ماشالله ماشالله، گشکنه گزا ماشالله ماشالله، تو این گلمه ایشالله، گشکنه گزا ماشالله ماشالله، تو این گلمه ایشالله. Sure, yeah. Well, after I met Simin, I learned that she's from Khorasan region in Iran, and that's why she was really interested in this song and another song that I played online for her on her birthday. Yeah, sure. I think I can't.
In Iran, there are two types of marriage contracts. One is a permanent, the other a temporary marriage contract. Temporary marriage, or sireh, has a term limit. The couple decide how long they will be together. Shiite Muslims believe that their Prophet Muhammad sanctioned temporary marriage. There is an ancient myth told about temporary marriage. A woman approaches a man. Her hair and body are covered with a black cloak. She asks him whether he would like to do a temporary marriage with her for 3 months. He agrees to have a temporary marriage for only 3 nights. The woman takes him to her palace where he's washed, perfumed, and brought to her. When they perform the temporary marriage ceremony, she uncovers her hair and body. He is enchanted by her beauty and charm. After 3 days and nights, their contract is over. The man, regretting his own time restriction, begs her to extend their temporary marriage. She refuses, saying that he had his chance. He could have chosen 99 years, but he chose only 3 nights. She then sends him away.
Hi, everyone. My name is Renee Green, and it's interesting to follow that clip. We actually talked about that project. We talked about that project for quite some time. So I wrote something to help me. Which words can I say that can address ways to think about my relationship with Simin within 3 minutes? To begin, I miss her. I was on the road most of the time after we met and bonded with her in the fall of 1989 at the Whitney Independent Study Program in New York, the ISP. Both of us were there in our 20s, now nearly 36 years ago. It still seems hard to believe the span. We were often separated by distance, yet when I'd return to New York, which continues to be my home base, I'd get in touch with Simin. Through all of these times, it's so strange not to be able to do that now. We became friends early on at the ISP and began the many discussions touching on our many questions during that time. We experienced watching the broadcast at Artist Space of the fall of the Berlin Wall, as it can now be found in the Wikipedia, 9 November 1989. This launched shifts that continue, which we continued to engage personally. Simin had been a special catalyst for me, capable of perceiving and believing in what I was making and really seeing me, recognizing me. And I felt this to be reciprocal. And this was both exciting and reassuring. She was able to make links and connections others were unable to do, deeply and complexly perceiving, yet generously and with humility, minus any affectation. A certain honesty, sensitivity, energy, and regenerating strength. A power stronger than itself applies to Simin. When I met her, she used the name Simone or Simona, the German aspect of her, in a way, yet still becoming otherwise. Given shifts in life and in the world, she later claimed her name as Simin, encompassing and transcending being caught between two worlds, changing and continuing her ongoing becomings that we can feel and celebrate today. Bestow media literacy, expose, inspire, change. Her words, her title of what she presented at MIT in Cinematic Migrations. She continues to resonate through her actions and through her traces. We all miss her. Thank you.
We want our culture rich, our poetics rhythmically ridiculous with wordsmiths who smash the corporate construct of how this, our work, our poetry is done.
Have you got a toothache? Go to the dentist. I'm an adjunct.
I have to find it. Sorry. Let me try. Here. Okay. Simin. She seamlessly biked with a basket balancing on the front of her old clunky ride. Never worried. Traffic, not her. Simin had a great balance. Cut. Simin was class conscious. I remember when she organized a film event. No surprise, she titled it Working Class Heroes. It was a celebration of people who worked with their hands, their bodies, who worked with their souls, their minds. She programmed a documentary I made back then, signed, sealed, and delivered, Labor Struggle in the Post Office. Struggle in the Post Office. She didn't shy away from the complexity of class struggle, the messiness of coalition building, that we don't always agree even with our union's leaders, union co-workers. Her understanding that there were many working class intellectuals, a new concept to many, and Simin gently struggled with the non-believers. Cut. CUNY represented this as a terrain of possibilities, a beautiful space for educating students much like her, recent arrivals to lowercase USA, starry-eyed, romantic, idealistic. Cut. Simin believed that we could imagine a future, struggle together. Without any imagination, there could be no road. Films were part of this road, as well as hope. She would say hope is revolutionary. Cut. Labor at the Crossroads, Labor X, a monthly TV CUNY show, CUNY TV. Steve Breyer, his crew, supporters, including me, launched the show in 1988. Not only did we interview leaders from across New York in the labor movement, the camera operators, those worked the soundboard, the directors, the editors were all students. Years later, I left and Kelly Anderson took the helm. Eventually, she moved on to new endeavors, new horizons. Cut. It was a perfect fit, just a natural fit, to build the series, and who was going to make that fit? Simone's energy, love, and the clumsiness of class struggle was off and running. Thank you, Simin.
Thank you. Hope you can hear me. This is Rico. And yeah, I was invited to do this, to participate by Steve Breyer. She just mentioned him for Labor Crossroads. And sadly, he can't make it today because of canceled flight. We're getting used to that. And so he sends his love and respect to Simin and for this gathering. When I met Simin, she was, as was pointed out, living in Harlem. I was in Brooklyn. And I immediately saw she was a free spirit, new age, progressive, grounded in internationalism, moving across boundaries, media, performance, activism, education. She was all that at times. She was doing lots of organizations. She was with Paper Tiger. And I think our first direct collaboration was a media activist group, either Media Network or Media Alliance, don't know which. But she was thoughtful, down to earth, and but also radiant, someone who embodied the spirit of the title of her film, She Who Gives Kisses Freely from Her Lips. I came to learn that she was a prolific filmmaker after that, and a media educator, performer, and an installation artist. We became kindred spirits, and I worked with her at Labor Crossroads. I was studio director, and on independent projects like Salt Peanuts that Francine wrote, and also on Adjunct Agony. That was fun. And on the spot, we had already done it. It was looking good, and we were so happy with ourselves, but it didn't have that, for the end. And on the spot, she just came up, no full pay, no benefits, no security, no retirement, no respect. That's the mean. Yes, clear-eyed, incisive, and creative. That's what she was like. So when she returned to Iran at one point to care for her father, I subbed for her at the worker training program at BMCC. And her TA, later my TA, Richard Hubbard, told me that he had once walked into her office and found her lying on the floor, receiving Reiki. And so he didn't know anything about that. And so minutes later, she had him lying down there too. That was Simin. She drew you in powerfully. She was a rare light, and I miss her deeply. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Francine Crawford. I was a friend of Simin, like Alonzo said, I met Simin, many years ago. We were at, we were doing the Workers' Education Program. I was part of it. And Alonzo was teaching me, and I think she had taken a break or something, but she came back to look at our projects and give us advice and our end of year stuff and things like that. We end up becoming friends from there, and 9/11 happened, and I was amazed that Rico and Simin had asked me to write with them for a project for 9/11, and we collaborated on that, and then we became friends. And Simin was just more of a friend than a producer with me and stuff like that. We critiqued each other's work. I'm a writer, I'm a playwright, and we critiqued each other's work. She supported me on my shows and things like that. And we talked a lot for long periods of times on the phone, but she wasn't one of those friends where it was just about gossip and things like that. It was always deep. It was always insightful. She was always educating me on something, educating me on different worlds that I was not aware of. And we would just talk, and she was very insightful and very, very encouraging. She was the type of person that would, just fight for something that wasn't right. And she showed me how important that was and how important it was to have a voice and how important it was to have a platform and to help others to have a platform to express themselves about what's going on in the world. And she was, in doing that and being so strong and educated and knowledgeable and doing that, she was still so kind and sweet. And everything that she did, she, even when she was fighting for something, she was just had this sweet spirit. And I just appreciate that. And she helped me not to quit. She helped me not to quit on my project and the things that are important to me. And I so appreciated that. When I started my podcast, she was the first person I wanted to work with me. And at that time, her mom was going through dementia, and she could not do that at that time. But we talked, and she was a guest on my show twice, talking about dementia, because my show talks about that. And I'm getting involved with your aging parents. And she was so gracious. And then I kept asking her, I just really want you to work with me, and I'm so sorry we didn't get that opportunity to do that. But I'm just so grateful to everybody who put this together for her. This was really, really hard for me. Her passing was really hard for me, and one of the main reasons because I miss her voice. I can't hear her voice. I can't go to her for instruction or to give me encouragement and things like that. And I just miss her. And me and Rico and her used to get together and look at movies. I worked for Film Forum. And at some point, lives change, and, I would hang out with Rico, and then I would hang out with her or whatever, and we separated. But we always used to be together. So one time we had this filmmaker, he came, 7A, he had a film series. He didn't come, a film series. And I saw the shirts, and I said, oh, I'm going to buy a shirt for each one of us, and we're going to wear that one because we're going to come together as we normally do and come together, and, we haven't done that in a long time, and we're going to all wear these shirts. So this is the shirt that I brought, and I brought it for Rico and for Simin, and I just didn't have the opportunity to give it to her, so I'm going to give it to her daughter today, and I just miss her so much. So until we meet again, Simin, love you. God bless.
We're all from places where the culture is very different from the way it is here. If there's one location, one place you could be in the world right now, where would that be?
If I could be at one particular place in the world right now, I would be in Iran and my hometown, Hamadan. Even for 1 minute. In fact, it's where I'm born, it's my country, and it's more than 2 years that I'm out of my country, and I really missed it. However, we had to leave as a refugee to the United States.
difficult to say that you're Iranian because you'll get associated with Ayatollah Khomeini, you'll be associated with Islamic fundamentalism, you'll be associated with the hostages, you'll be associated with, right now, I don't know, nuclear proliferation and this sort of thing.
What it means to be an Iranian in America, it means pretend to be Italian, and it means try and trick them by telling them you're Persian. See if they fall for that.
Yes, Persian is the same thing as Iranian eyes. Not without my daughter is just a movie replies. Olive skin and exquisite nose is beautiful profile. No, Saddam is not my uncle and I don't own oil smile.
Hi, everyone. Is this working? Simin was a close friend, and I miss her all the time. She lives on in my heart and in all our hearts as people are speaking about it. I met Simin in 2002 through a common friend who had told me there was another Iranian filmmaker in New York, and I couldn't believe it. So we met and we discussed from the beginning this was after 9/11, to make a film about Middle Eastern immigrants, because there was a lot of focus, as you know, on Muslim Iranians at that time. We would spend a whole year discussing the project, and then we realized that it was just too big and we needed to focus it, so we changed it to the film about Iranian immigrants in the US, or as Hamid Nafisi calls it, Iranian exiles, which is probably more accurate. We began making Caught Between Two Worlds, and you saw a clip from that. It took us 5 years to complete it, and because we were both working and she was raising a family, and at the end she was also enrolled in a graduate program at City College in film, and she finished her film, Who Gives Kisses Freely from Her Lips at that time. She was close to her mom and her family, of course, and her mom would visit her and stay with her. Sorry, I'm just losing my place here. Simin had lost her father in 1994, and we commiserated about losing our one parent early, before they died before their time. She stayed with my uncle and me in LA when we were working on Caught Between Two Worlds and filming the community there, because that's like the largest community of Iranians. I also helped her in Iran when she was working on Who Gives Kisses Freely from Her Lips. We had many adventures. We traveled in different places, and during all this work, we also left time to go to beach, because she loved beaches, and I did too. And she would gather her family and friends often at her home, as you all probably experienced that, or during those trips to the Rockaways, to the water there. Simin had lost some of her connections to Iran after living so long in the US and in Germany. But our project together brought her closer to Iran and her connections there. She loved Iranian music, as Mehman has played, and she also, loved her work. And the work of Susan, an Iranian singer, who maybe later you can hear a little bit of her singing that. She wanted her family from Iran to visit her in the U.S. Kazem and Mahin her cousins and their daughters. But her busy schedule and taking care of her mom and her family and her work, left. She always wanted to do more than it was humanly possible. And she would bring everyone together in the community garden. We had the yearly Chorshanbe Suri celebration where the Iranians and her American friends would jump over fire to welcome the new year. I learned a lot from her about activism. I also got involved in Deep Dish TV after 9/11 and worked on Shocking and Awful project. I learned from her about welcoming people, gathering people. She would be smiling warmly. She lived a full life. She traveled to so many great places in Europe, Iran, South America, and probably more, which I don't know about. And she connected with her friends that she met in these places. People like Fouzieh in France and Amy Valles in Cuba. So she's greatly missed, and don't know what else to say, but to just enliven her in our hearts as we always do. Thank you.
دویدم من راه خیس از خاک خونه رو باز صدای زنگ خورد و بعد از شادی با حال پرواز در اومد باز از شوق اون کوچه و شوق دریا لبم خندون سرم سرمست گریه یادم نیست اشک و غم دور از این کوچه دور از این خونه است دلمون از شوق بارون از شوق برفای روی نادون.
For those of you, hello? For those of you, hi. For those of you who don't know, that was a fire jumping ceremony that Simin organized quite a few years. It's an Iranian celebration, which I don't know enough about. Okay, next we're going to hear Simin's daughter, Ana Luisa, sing and play a song.
So much, and I see my mom and everybody that's here, and it's just like it helps a lot with everything. We're all distributing the load of her loss together, and that's really touching. I think if there's one legacy she had, it was to bring people together. And that bond is it transcends time. And last year on my mom's birthday, she read a Hafez poem. In the sky where we all live, it is easy to lose your wings, so love, love, love. I think everything my mom did was out of love. And so it makes it so hard to believe that she's gone. Because love makes the spirit so strong because it lives in everybody's heart that matter. So, anyway, the last day that I was with her, I sang her this song because it was her favorite song of mine. So I'm gonna sing it. It's kind of a downer. I don't know why she liked it that much. I really don't know why, but she did. So it's gonna happen. So thank you. Sorry, the guitar was very out of tune, but thank you so much.
Kindchen Schlaf, die Mama hüt die Schaf. Der Papa schüttelt's Bäumelein, kommt herab ein Träumelein. Schlaf, Kindchen, schlaf. What? La 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 la.
This is so utopian. Is your mama utopian? Hmm?
Kuss, gib mir auch ein Küsschen, oh Mensch. Sie ist ganz so verschlafen gekommen und schräg gelaufen und so. Oh, wie ist sie so süß. Oh, du Süße.
Thanks everyone for coming today. My name is Eric. I'm her partner for 23 years. Simin and I met in 2001, but somehow we met when I fell into the nest. I see Simin as one of the rebels my friend Laura Marie introduced me to. Someday in the 1980s, she took me into the compound. I was very excited. My life course until then was to find, experience, and live in the most progressive, radical, and sustainable way. I had traveled coast to coast, looking for collectives with the best alternatives. So we entered Avenue D in the 1980s when the criminals controlled the streets and kept apartment living affordable. We entered this old industrial building. Cubicles made of found materials nested the bedrooms in the compound. Eventually, I was introduced to the Fidel law, or Che law, of the village, Martha, who was chain-smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee, which in my naive mind exemplified the ideal New York revolutionary intellectual. Immediately, that place soared to one of the top spots on my list of most progressive and radical spots on the planet. So, in my mind, everyone here is Simin, and Simin is everyone here. I'm not much into sectarian conflict, so I see everyone fighting the system in their own way, and that's okay. I like difference. What does it matter anyway? It's okay not to be on the front lines combating the police. Everyone has a place. I want to be part of a movement where the children's happiness is as much of a contribution as people on the front lines. Simin and I were together for 23 years. It's hard to believe that we stuck together that long, when many things could have pulled us apart and destroyed us. Perhaps it helps that both of us were Tauruses. How can an agnostic believe in such superstitions? We started out as vagabonds, traversing the rocky terrain of resistance to the dominant codes and travelers in a life without endings. Eventually, she gave me an ultimatum and gave me some time to make a decision. The result of that decision is this precious child, an adult who is Simin's greatest gift, Ana Luisa. Simin was infinitely ambitious. She had more pots on the stove than there were burners. Her refined and exquisite taste benefited many students at SVA, where she taught film. She always wanted me to watch films, but the only ones I wanted to watch were those she was teaching: experimental, avant-garde, and cultural anthropology. She inspired many to fight the system, and once on a train in Germany, she called the police officer a Nazi. We took our kid to many demonstrations as often as we could. Caught up between Germany, Iran, and the US, Simin struggled to connect her roots while exploring her talents, making films, and agitating for social change. We did fire jumping in the gardens, a German lantern festival, and many dinner and dance parties with the Zoroastrian diaspora. Over and over since she passed, the same ghost appeared. I kept thinking, I can't believe this happened. The last year and a half was quite a roller coaster. I had no idea what was going to happen. I was constantly living in this world. Is she staying or leaving? It was impossible to know until the last second. The gift I didn't expect was the tidal wave of support, overflowing with comfort, care, and cushion. Day and night, she fought the mighty blows from the cancer, the treatment, and the search for alternatives. It was all going on at once, as if I was walking on different treadmills, simultaneously going in different directions. Also, this incredible child, how can I negotiate these challenges? I had to be honest and didn't want to make it more painful than it had to be. I cared for myself enough to take care of others. So perhaps you want to know what the big gift was. The response from her friends and community was beyond my imagination. Without the tidal wave of love, support, connection, affection, and attention from our friends and communities, the ordeal would have broken my life. It is still something I will never stop appreciating. I tend to go at it alone and tough it out. And while I had to do that, sometimes all these people, this cornucopia of fabulous friends, came through to make it easier. These are the greatest gifts I received. Thank you all. I appreciate your health, support, and guidance.
Okay. So we're just having a slight change in the program, but everything is going to happen, just not necessarily in the order that it's written. Right now we're going to see 2 video testimonials from people who were not able to be here, but who love Simin very much. One is from her friend Klaus Withhopf in Germany, and the other one is her cousin Frank Schultz, also from Germany.
Hello everybody, hello Ana Luisa and Eric. This is Klaus, Simin's friend from Frankfurt in Germany. I met Simin more than 20 years ago when we studied together at the film department at the City College of New York. And since then we stayed in contact, and our friendship really meant a lot to me. Simin was really a very special and very important person for me also. And we stayed in contact, and it was fantastic that almost every year she came to Germany, and we could meet in Frankfurt, Berlin, or in Mainz, often also together with Simin's mother, Katrin, and also sometimes with Anna Luisa. And I have wonderful memory of holidays we did together, for example at the Baltic Sea or on the Canary Islands, together with Anna Luisa, and this was really such a beautiful time and very special. So unfortunately I cannot be in person, but I am very happy to participate here online at the celebration of Simin's memorial birthday, and I think a lot to her, and I'm happy to be with you online at least. So happy birthday, Simin.
Hi, my name is Frank. I'm the cousin of Simin, and I wrote a letter for her in memorial of her. Simin, since you're gone, I miss you very much. In our childhood, we have spent a lot of time close together in Germany, in Mainz, with our grandma, with our parents, and with our aunts and uncles. And after we spent a lot of time in my hometown together, Oppenheim. And when you went to New York, I admired you that you were doing all the organizations alone. Your study, your job, your family, with Eric, Anna Luisa, and your mother. And I miss your kindness, your humor, and your open, special mind. And I often remember on my visit in New York, 1998, and on Christmas and Happy New Year, we have had together there, and we have so much fun in clubs, bars, and discos in New York. And especially I remember the disco. It was a church in New York. It was a beautiful place, and we have so much fun there. And I miss the visits of you in Mainz with Eric, Anna Luisa, and but I know that you will never come again, and we can exchange our views. And I enjoy the beautiful holidays in Bavaria and in Italy together with our kids, Anna Luisa and Paul. And I enjoyed also the political discussions with you. And you would be scared and shocked about the political situation in the USA now. And you always advocated for the rights of the socially disadvantaged and for democracy. Still, now you could do so much for your domicile of choice. Simin, you are missed everywhere, and I know that you would fight for democracy now, right now, and I hope your friends will do so. In this spirit, I remember you. Thank you, Godspeed you, your cousin Frank, and sorry for my bad English. Bye.
This is Simin at Democracy Now! It was cropped. I think that was Greta Thunberg, the Swedish environmentalist. Look at that radiant face. And the one that has been up on these screens through the People's Forum, that picture of Simin, that is so beautiful. And what I find amazing in that picture, maybe we could put it up, the one that just gives Simin's dates, is that this is a picture of Simin, who is visiting, I think, Adrian with Kathy, when she was sick, when she was already diagnosed. And even there, the radiance of her face is incredible. And I think it says so much. And I especially am speaking today directly to Ana Luisa, because you shared, and to Eric, this incredible woman with the world, and we thank you for that. Simin was with us at Democracy Now! For 13 years, and it's beautiful to see our colleagues from Democracy Now! Here. Julie Crosby, our executive director, who just was so compassionate in the last months, because Simin wasn't giving up. I mean, in the last weeks, she was saying to me, as we were about to teach a class, I don't know what to do because I don't want to cancel this class. It was the last days of Simin. She was so determined. What she shared with people at Democracy Now!, and I mean the thousands of students who she taught. I mean, one day I came in, racing in, as I often do at 7:30 in the morning, and already she had a class of some 40 fourth graders that are waiting to watch the show. I was very nervous. We never coordinated what the show was with what the grade or age of the kids were, because, well, you will watch Democracy Now! There's an actual live group of maybe a class of fourth graders, maybe graduate students in journalism, maybe a group of journalists from Denmark. They're sitting right through the glass watching the show. So she had fourth graders that day, and I looked, oh my God, how are we having fourth graders today? It is an hour with Noam Chomsky. It was a documentary that was made about him called Is the Man Who Is Tall Happy, with the great French filmmaker and illustrator Michel Gondry. And how are we going to keep their attention? Well, I was fine because I'm insulated in the studio. They're going to be climbing the walls on the outside, but that's Simin's problem. This is going to be one major behavior moment. I couldn't even look out as I'm interviewing Michelle in the studio, and we're showing clips of Noam Chomsky in that inimitable monotone that captivates so many, but I didn't know if it would reach fourth graders. At about 20 minutes in, I bravely looked to the left through the glass. 40 kids were jumping off the walls a half hour ago before the show started were like this. It was amazing. And it was something Simin always believed, is that kids have a long attention span. You just have to give them something that they would be interested in. And the way she would frame the program and teach people, whether 10 years old or 90 years old, who came to visit, about being inclusive, about independent media, about the corporate media silencing the voices. Even as it spans the planet, it somehow keeps out the vast majority of people. You know, Simin deeply understood that those who care about war and peace, who care about gender equality, who care about racial and economic justice, and who care about the environment, like her daughter, Ana Luisa, are not a fringe minority. Not even a silent majority, but the silenced majority silenced by the corporate media, which is why our big project that Simin spearheaded in teaching students was, we've got to take the media back. And that's what she did together with Dee Dee and the whole team at Paper Tiger and Deep Dish, how important that is. And I also want to just call out Kelly, the MC today, but much more than the MC today. Kelly and Adrian, who you'll see in just a moment, who in the last months of Simin's life taught us so much. It's what Eric was talking about. It's the community that they built in protecting her, in guiding us all. Adrian, a death doula. Now that sounds so sad and dark. But it really was all about light. She made it possible for Simin to move forward every day in guiding all of us, teaching us what that passage, that life passage, which Simin was fighting every day. I'm not going to say she went peacefully at all. She fought with all the love and the compassion, the ferocity, the intelligence, the brilliance that she shared with the students at Democracy Now! For over a decade, and the hundreds of teachers who brought in those students and who she taught as well. She would do teacher trainings at Democracy Now! To teach people about media literacy, about really, I always saw it as the Wizard of Oz pulling back the curtain on the wizard and showing how important it is to break the sound barrier. I'm also so sorry Karen Ranucci, such a force in helping to shape the education program, couldn't be here. It's only because she isn't feeling well. Karen, I want you to get better fast, because she was so important in working with Simin in framing this program. In the last days, as Simin went into hospice at home, Kelly and Adrian were always there, as of course Eric and Ana Luisa were. In the last months, me and Simin and Ziggy and where is Zazu? Oh my God. And Zazu, who, by the way, the music, she was so taken to see Zazu's head cock as you played. That music was so beautiful. You spoke right to her. But the four of us, two of us with our hats, that's me and Simin, and Ziggy and Zazu. Simin was my tour guide through the Lower East Side and through the community gardens. Her incredible advocacy for community spaces. She taught me all about the different gardens. We took refuge in so many of them, the tiny ones, the big ones, where she had her, herb spiral, where you all had your own garden. And that's how she approached her whole life. It was tending and growing community. Which brings me to the great Sufi mystic and poet Rumi, who said, grief can be the garden of compassion. If you keep your heart open through everything, your pain can become your greatest ally in your life's search for love and wisdom. That's what Simin taught me as we walk through Tompkins Park over and over again, but still discovering all the different nooks and crannies and how people would greet her all over the Lower East Side where we would walk. She also taught us about endurance, which made me think of the great Mexican artist Frida Kahlo, who said, at the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think we can. Watching Simin in those last days just left me in awe. She taught us to the last days of her life and shared love to the last days of her life. And so I want to end with the words of the great Palestinian poet who died with so many members of his family in an Israeli strike there in Gaza. He'd written this poem not long before he was killed. I won't read the whole poem, just the first few lines and the last few. If I must die, you must live to tell my story. And he ends the poem by saying, if I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale. Thank you so much, everyone, for congregating here together. We love you, Ana Luisa.
Morning, welcome. Is this the Essex County Community College? Yes. You guys are impressive coming all the way from New Jersey. This is a live broadcast, so very different from a broadcast that's edited. So any issue, any problem, any mistake, it's live. Everything has to be really perfect, and so everybody's working together. Yeah. Behind you is the studio, right? So you'll be sitting over there looking right in. And behind them, when you see the actual show on TV, you'll see this studio, right? And so there's various positions here of work being done. So enjoy. In a few minutes, it's going to start. Why do you think the U.S. media does not cover the case of Bradley Manning? Or if they do, why doesn't it cover it more in detail?
The owners of the media in the United States are the owners of the big corporations. They, in fact, are they have profit for this war. So they're not going to show the against of the war to the people.
And hello. Now I'd like to introduce Abena Kumson-Davis and Ilana Bell of Saheli and the Resistance Revival Chorus.
Hello, everyone. It is wonderful to be here with you as we celebrate Simin. I'm Abena, and this is Ilana. We had the pleasure of many years ago performing with Simin in a beautiful piece called Karima, which was the dream of Laura Marie. And we thought it would be wonderful to sing together with you, since music is such an important way that we all come together. So in your program, you're going to find a sheet with songs. There you go. Thank you, Ilana. The first one is a Chinese proverb that was set to music by Sharon Durant. And it says, when there is light in the soul, there is beauty in the person. When there's beauty in the person, there's harmony in the home. When there's harmony in the home, there's honor in the nation. When there's honor in the nation, there's peace in the world. So we'll sing a line to you, you'll sing it back to us, and then we'll all sing it together. When there is light in the soul, when there is light in the soul, there is beauty in the the person. There is beauty in the person. When there is beauty in the person. When there is beauty in the person. There is harmony in the home. There is harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home. There is honor in the nation. There is honor in the nation. When there is honor in the nation. When there is honor in the nation. There is peace in the world. There is peace in the world. Now let's sing it all together, one line after another. And like Amy said, break that sound barrier. Break us wide open to be with each other and to be with Simin. When there is light in the soul, there is beauty in the person. When there is beauty in the person, there is harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there is honor in the nation. When there is honor in the nation, there is peace. Yes, there is. In the All right. Years ago, I wrote a song called Joy in Resistance. The lyrics to that are also in your program. So repeat after me. What the world needs now.
What the world needs now
Is joy in resistance.
is joy in resistance.
We will fight the good fight.
We will fight the good fight
With or without your assistance.
with or without your assistance.
Move out of the way.
Move out of the way.
If you can't support the mission.
If you can't support the mission.
What the world needs now.
What the world needs now
Is joy in resistance.
is joy in resistance.
So the cool thing about this song is that sometimes we change the word that's in the middle. So it's joy and resistance, it's love, it's faith, it's peace. I can't guarantee you that I'll do the order that's in your program, but if you follow me, you will know what to sing next. All right, but we'll start with joy. What the world needs now is joy in resistance. We will fight the good fight with or without your assistance. Move out of the way if you can't support the mission. What the world needs now is joy. Sing about faith. What the world needs now is faith in resistance. We will fight the good fight with or without your assistance. Move out of the way if you can't support the mission. What the world needs now is faith in. Sing about love. What the world needs now is love in resistance. We will fight the good fight with or without your assistance. Move out of the way if you can't support the mission. What the world needs now is love. Sing about peace. What the world needs now is peace. We will fight the good fight with or without your assistance. Move out of the way if you can't support the mission. What the world needs now is peace. Sing about joy one more time. What the world needs now is joy. We will fight the good fight, yeah. With or without your resistance. Move on out of the way, if you can. What the world needs now is joy in resistance. Thank you so much.
I'm okay. Thanks for checking.
Hi, everyone. Before I say the words that I prepared, my child always says that when I'm not with her, I'm probably watching Democracy Now! And she's 5, and she's going to be very jealous. So my name is Rafa Kidvai. I'm a former student of Simin's from Hampshire College and a former, sometimes, babysitter of Ana Luisa's. I was supposed to be up here with my longtime friend Devad, who also had the privilege of working with Simin, but he can't be here. He's a firefighter and he's putting out literal fires in Brooklyn. But I'm going to incorporate some of his words today. So almost exactly 18 years ago to the date, I received my thesis, or Division 3 as Hampshire students call it, evaluation from Simin for a documentary I made in Karachi, Pakistan, about a trans woman activist and friend, Bindia Rana. The evaluation is generous and uses words like beautifully composed, well-edited, inquisitive camera work, sensitive. The rhythm of the video is subtle and quiet, she says. As someone who is neither subtle nor quiet, looking back, these words actually seem like appropriate descriptors of Simin. Beautifully composed, subtle, and I can see how much of her presence shaped my work. And then about 10 years ago today, Devad tells me he was supposed to be, it's not exact, it's approximate, but supposed to be going to the 6th annual Charshanbe Suri celebration at La Plaza Community Garden. He was 3 months in on being a new dad and regrets not being able to go because of what he describes as an extra crispy fried brain. This was the last time they were both in touch. And this is sort of the thing about New York, you can be in really close proximity and not somehow see the people you should be. I loved learning from Simin. I have to shout out Carol Lynch for making that true. She saved me from a problematic white woman to make that possible. But I loved it because she was not just a filmmaker, but a gifted educator. She was somehow soft, but no nonsense. Extremely caring, but not overly effusive. I described her to my then partner in an email as wise and fiercely kind. In our work together on my film, Simin often encouraged me to simplify, to slow down, to let things speak for themselves. As I struggled with wanting to do too much, she encouraged me to use a simple format, a day in the life, to allow people to walk in Bindia's shoes. She taught me to use flashcards in order to make a paper edit of my film, and she patiently sat with me for hours shuffling those cards around while my friend Tia babysat her baby girl, as she called her. Shout out to Ana Luisa for truly having the best attitude and the best cheeks I'd ever seen on a baby till then, but especially for modeling connection and their interwovenness of the work of parenting and professional work. Throughout the experience of working with Simin, her emails told me, not to worry, you are fine, don't worry yourself sick, rest. Okay, I'm a bit worried about you. I don't want you to get sick. I was obviously very stressed out, unnecessarily, college student. She told me sometimes documentaries can take years, even my own. She told me to be less rigid. One email said, do keep the bad stuff. There may be things you cannot recognize as valuable yet. The brilliance of Simin as a professor was that she met me with patience, positive reinforcement, and lots of hope when I was frustratingly behind, notably signing off her emails, inshallah best, when things looked particularly bleak. Finally, when my film was complete, she told me to do something I never did. Submit this to film festivals right away. You will be able to use your film as an entry point for conversations and activism, since that is what it is meant to be. But instead of listening, I made the gravest mistake of my life and became a lawyer. I'm not some horrendous corporate lawyer, don't worry. I became a public defender, but I told myself there would always be time in the future to make films, but right now I needed to work, I told myself. So unlike most Pakistani parents, mine objected to my decision. My mother said, you have chosen to move from Pakistan to Pakistan, it seems. You should practice your art because you will need it more than you think. Her own experience of fighting fascism in a country that shares a border with Simin's, of mimicking Iranian feminists, of chanting in a language that draws from Farsi, had taught her over and over again about the important work of generating empathy and trusting no government. Yet I laughed and audaciously called her contrarian and oppressively progressive. Funnily, around this same time, Simin was telling Javad, and I quote, I just want to tell you that activist work is very important. I come from that background myself. However, the organizing work is there. It will always be there. Making time for your art and your work is not easy, and it will get hard and harder as you move into the real world. Please don't forget your art and your work. It has important messages, and those are also a part of activism. Today, both Javad and I are squarely in the real world, it seems, and we lament how difficult it is to find ways to make art as parents, with our own aging parents. But rereading her words and teachings to us in preparation for today, which was such a privilege, makes me hopeful that we will at least attempt to honor her by honoring her wisdom and her fierce kindness, by being sensitive, no nonsense, and inquisitive all at once, and perhaps by remembering to listen to our mothers, whether they're here with us or gone, whether they're in Palestine, Pakistan, Brooklyn, or Iran. Khuda Hafiz, Simin, may you rest in power.
My name's Adrienne Yannick, and I was asked to speak about the last few years of Simin's life. In early August 2020, with COVID still preventing socializing in person, a group of 5 old friends, Simin, myself, Martha, Patricia, and Mary, gathered over Zoom to celebrate Patricia's birthday. We had such a great time connecting that we decided to make it a weekly Zoom gathering. Soon after, on one of these Friday evening meetups, Simin shared that she had a concerning colonoscopy report and was being recommended to an oncologist. She was very worried as her father had passed of colon cancer and the memories of his death haunted her. Soon she was scheduled for a colon resection that took place that fall. The operation was deemed a success. She healed and busy with caring for her mother, working, activism, and running a household with a teenage daughter. She went on with her life. Our weekly Zoom calls eventually moved to every 2 or 3 weeks as COVID concerns in the general population shifted and Friday night gigs and events had restarted. Then in fall of 2023, Simin's dear mother, Catherine, who had been living in a facility in Brooklyn and had worsening dementia, was in and out of the hospital with heart issues. During a support call with me in December to understand whether or not to go with the doctor recommendations that her mother start hospice care, she mentioned that she had been having severe abdominal pain. I begged her to go see a doctor. She listened. And so the same week in January that Simin buried her mother, she learned that she had metastatic colon cancer that had spread to her liver. Hearing her diagnosis, our Zoom friend group agreed to resume meeting weekly so we could support her and each other through whatever was to come. As she learned more about the specifics of her disease and received treatment directives from her oncologist at Memorial Sloan Kettering, she also began to speak with others who had gone through similar health challenges and explore, with the help of her partner Eric, alternative treatments. Though she ended up deciding to pursue the palliative chemotherapy regimen recommended by her oncologist, she also connected with alternative services at MSK, like acupuncture and counseling, and she investigated new diets, practices, and therapies introduced by her friends and new acquaintances. Though Simin was fearful as she faced her diagnosis, she was determined to live, as you've heard from many people here tonight, and dove into a profoundly new life that included weekly visualization sessions, Tai Chi, a complete moratorium on plastic containers, and her chemo infusions. She began drawing again, spent time in her beloved community garden, and started to accept, with a lot of reservations, the support and assistance of friends, family, and neighbors near and far when we started an online care circle. Her first chemotherapy regimen had few side effects and was effective at reducing the size of her tumors, decreasing her pain, and increasing her hope that she would live a long life. Unfortunately, the changing chemo treatments were eventually no longer effective as the cancer continued its voracious movement through her body. Throughout the ups and downs of the last 20 months of her life, Simin's devoted network of friends took her to medical and supportive care appointments, cooked and delivered family meals, made playlists of music and poetry, subscribed her to the New York Times Games, came and massaged her feet, and registered her as a medical marijuana patient. Our weekly Zoom sessions continued, and in the last few months of Simin's life, her devoted friends, many of whom are here with us today, hosted her and Eric and Ana Luisa in Cuba and their homes upstate, coordinated payment of medical bills, secured alternative and homeopathic treatments, arranged for home hospice support, and then attended to her in around-the-clock vigil in her last week of life as she moved from home to ER to hospital ward to inpatient hospice and on to the spirit realm. Her loving daughter, Ana Luisa, rarely left her side those last days, draping her with colorful scarves and ministering to her with music and tender, loving touch. When Simin left this earth, she was surrounded by love and beauty and Ana Luisa and Eric and her dog Ziggy. Simin threw absolutely every bit of will and strength she had into fighting against death. It seemed that this improbably rich life that she had willed into existence made it hard for her to grasp that her will was not enough to overcome this particular challenge. Toward the end, her friend Martha gifted Simin a ritualized visual hypnosis session. And in the session, Simin's guiding spirit emerged in the form of a large, majestic tree. Afterwards, she described the garden at her father's home in Iran, where the grand tree grew, and the passageway she climbed through the branches of the tree that led to a labyrinthine stairway. I picture her there singing and drawing and making friends with all that is. I just wanted to let you know I am the last speaker, so I'm sort of in between digital and analog here, so I just wanted to say thank you to the many people here who helped fly me to be here. I have savoured every word, every speaker to get a glimpse of my dear friend Simin. So thank you to all those people so much. I was going to be funny, for fuck's sake. I first met Simin, in Harlem before Paper Tiger. I lived there with Mark Dye, and we had a little family. It was Mark, Simin, and our ferrets, Elvis and Jamara. And we lived there, and Simin had heard Dee Dee up at Hartford, and I was sort of wanting to get into film, and we decided we would go down all the way from Harlem down to Lafayette Street and, check out this mob, Paper Tiger TV. Anyway, we ended up joining the media activist cult, and we both ended up staying there for like 10 years, and we were like, honestly, we had jobs, and we were waitresses, and we were doing all sorts of stuff, but we really both found our voice there. We were both... I was from Australia, she was from Iran and Germany. By the way, when I met Simin, she was German and she was Simone. And this is a really important thing to say because it was the height of the whole anti-Khomeini. It was terrifying for her. And it was through the love and the safety that you gave Simin, And not only did you give her that, you embraced her. You enthusiastically embraced her culture. She came out as this Iranian person who got to share with all of us her culture, the duality of the German and the Iranian, and it was only possible, and I think especially in this time right now in the United States, this is a really important thing to hold on to and to give to other people. So just wanted to say that because you have all, and I have. Honestly, I would call her up. I spoke to her every day at the end, and she was constantly saying, oh my God, I can't believe all these people, they are just doing all these things for me. And I was saying to Simin, you reap what you sow, and you have given so much to the world, to the community, full of love and joy and fun. And you all gave it back to her. And as a person who was far away and I couldn't be here, I couldn't do all the things that you were doing, it was really important. I did, however, she did rope me into doing meditation via Zoom. God, you don't know how ironic that is for me. But it's her parting gift to me. And I have to say, I'm not bad at that stuff now. And I just wanted also to say that Paper Tiger, it was really important in the formation. We became storytellers and filmmakers together. And I learned so much, when she really embraced her identity and came out and she explored all of this world, and she has reached so many people all around the world. She has friends everywhere. As a filmmaker, every film I make, there's a little bit of Simin in there, I can't tell you how much she's influenced me. She's like a sister, and I know many people here feel that as well. And we also became mothers together, literally I had a son 6 months after she had Ana Luisa, and I would come back and she would arrange, used to stay with her, and then she would arrange for me to stay at the squad across the way, and we just kind of had this incredible connection. And the last time I saw her was in the desert with Adrian, and it was a really important time. She'd called me up and said,
I feel you're near. I was doing a film shoot in Montreal, and I didn't tell anyone I was here because I was just doing an in and out kind of development thing. And she said, I've just got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And I said, holy shit, let's meet in the desert. And she actually did come and meet me in the desert. We had these amazing 3 days, of which some of those photos are from. And it was like really one of the most precious times. And you know how time really goes fast. It went really slow. It was like really weird. It was like every minute was like so important. And I will treasure that time so much. And I'm just going to end on like Simin, you know, well, we're all going to miss her so much, but I think, you know, we must keep her alive in our stories and in our memories. And when I think of her, I think her rage was my heartbeat, you know. Her joy was my refuge, my haven, and her memory will be my resistance. Thank you. We're just going to show a little video that I put together with the help. Thank you, everyone who gave us photos for the video. Thank you.
تو که ماه بلند آسمونی منم ستاره میشم کنارت میشینم تو که ستاره میشی کنارم میشینی منم ابر میشم رو تو میگیرم تو که ابری میشی رو ما میگیری منم بارون میشم شر میبارم تو که بارون میشی شر میباری منم سبزه میشم سر در میارم
I guess it's because I'm part German and also because it's the 100th year of Kurt Weinstein.
Through the hard times and the good, I have to celebrate you, baby. I have to praise you like I should.
we always come back to. I talk to this tree all the time.
Out in the garden where we planted the seeds, there is a tree as old as me. Branches were sold by the color of green. Ground had rose and past its knees. By the cracks of his skin I climbed to the top. I climbed the tree to see the world. When the gods came around to blow me down, held on as tightly as you held on to me. Held on as tightly as you held on to me.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Kathy, for that beautiful video. Thank you, everybody, for your words. We're now going to move to the luncheon portion of the day. Everybody's here, whether you RSVP'd for the luncheon or not, should just stay and have some of this delicious food that we're going to have. We need about 10 minutes to transition this space. If people can help by getting rid of some of these chairs and just stacking them on one side, that would be very helpful. And while we're doing that, Sharon Jane, who's a dear friend of Simin's, is going to be playing the mandolin.
And as you leave, there are some things to take with you. And there's a tray of dates and nuts. And as you take a piece, make a blessing to Simin and all your loved ones who are gone.
Hello, hello. Hello. The food is being served. You're going to start where the plates are and make your way down the line. There's only one meat dish, everything else is vegetarian. And then there's a place for coffee, tea, juice, and love. Okay.
I'll call tomorrow, begging and pleading you to come back alive, just like you were yesterday morning, just like the spirit that survives the war we tried to forget. war that is over, well, honey, which war is there? War with your mother, war with your brother, war with your cousin, and a dozen old tribes. I'll call tomorrow, begging and pleading you to come back alive, just like you were yesterday morning, just like the spirit that survives the war we try to forget. The war that is over, well, honey, which war is that? The war with your mother, the war with your brother, the war with your cousin, and a dozen old tribes. I'll call tomorrow, begging and pleading you to come back alive, just like you were yesterday morning, just like the spirit that survives the war we try to forget. The war that is over, well, honey, which war is there?